More Shadow and Bone Season 2 footage has been released, and now I'm worried that they are tampering too much with the Six of Crows material, whether that could be adapted as a spin-off, a film, or a third season. Finger crossed it does. Welcome back, and watch me paint the crow surprising Kaz with a Kruger cake on his birthday, while I voice these new fears that I've got. Some Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom spoilers ahead. First of all, I just want to swoon a little at the sequence of the 5 crows meeting in Wyland's lab. I cried, I really cried. They are so perfect. Everyone just did such an amazing job. The casting feels beyond right, the costumes, the atmosphere are so Ketterdamish. The dialogue is crowtastic and the acting, oh my gosh. Jack being better than my book image of Wyland, Jesper swagger, Nina's instant chemistry with Inesper's synchron remark, everything just falls into canon crow play so easily. Thank you everyone who contributed to this magnificence 1,000 timefold. Alright now, after all this brilliance, what on earth am I still fearful about? So, let's start. You might have seen that some additional cast members have been announced, among which is young Breaker. Let's start with that. If you are familiar with the plot of Six of Crows duology, you already know that 9-year-old Kaz has suffered a horrible trauma in which his older brother Jordi was involved, and his story broke us to pieces on one hand, and it suddenly shed light on why Kaz is the way he is on the other. Angry, spiteful, vengeful, rude, cruel, distant, mean, you know the drill. Now we as a fandom are faced with the fact that seeing this whole backstory being acted by children will be so much worse. Deep breath. Are we anxious, scared, and hopeful that no child actor has been forced to suffer psychological damage? Yes, we are. I mean, we always knew that it would come to this, but I guess at least I was hoping that it will be shot in such a way that implies the gruesomest aspects rather than showing them, or at least I hope they used CGI after the acting was done. They probably did. I hope they did. This is one fear. Secondly, Freddie Carter said in one of the cast interviews that Kaz will get the revenge that he so desperately craves. Well, again, if you are familiar with the books, you know that this revenge arc against Pekka Rollins was an integral part of the entire Six of Crows duology, and now I am frightened about that. How are they going to pull that out of the future Crow material? Six of Crows is sacred. The plot, the characters, everything is perfect. You must know that, right? I thought that they knew because of how they portrayed the arc of Nina Zenik and Matthias Helvar in Season 1. Their backstories are word for word pulled out of the books, and it is pure perfection. In Season 1, they did not tamper at all with the Six of Crows timeline. In fact, the only thing they pulled out from it was Kaz delivering his famous crow code to Inej. Crows don't just remember the faces of the people who wronged them. They also remember those who are kind. They tell each other who to look after and who to watch out for. This change is an improvement because in the books it was said casually on the dock scene, whereas in Season 1 it was said as a response to Inej's inquiry about Kaz's character. And another change that they made was that after Inej's first kill, Kaz didn't ignore her sobbing, because in this version she killed to protect Kaz rather than for a job, and that is again great. It's excellent motivation behind that first kill. So beyond the 2 minor modifications to Six of Crow material, everything else is still intact after Season 1, and now we learn that the revenge arc against Pekka is going to be pulled out from that. This gave me such anxiety that I asked my Instagram followers for what could be the explanation for this. I got some interesting answers, but one in particular seemed to make sense. Warning, it might be spoilerish if they guessed it right. Velvet Ditch said that the revenge arc in Season 2 might be against Philip and Saskia, which would leave the Pekka arc intact for later adaptation within the Crooked Kingdom timeline. To me, this is still frightening because these two are kids. It's as if this particular revenge arc could make Kaz a villain if done wrong, but I know it happened and it would have been a valid alternative to revenge against Pekka. Only a couple of days later, and we have a casting for Pekka's son, which only appeared in the context of Kaz's revenge against Pekka. So yeah, we're back where we started. I don't know what to think about this, we'll just have to wait and see and cross our fingers that Six of Crow is still doable after this in all its amazingness. Thirdly, there is another situation I'm vaguely worried about, and it's about Kanej. This is based on some things that Amita Suman said in her interviews, and it might be spoilery as she might have teased a bit too much. She said, 1. In season 1, Kaz said to Inej, I need you, and the step up from that is I want you. And 2. We get to see something that they'll never get to do. Judging from this, we are going to get the I want you scene, and some fans theorize that the thing that they'll never get to do is touch in the context of a dream. But they did touch 3 times in the books, so if we see something that they never get to do, then it sounds as if the dream is about more than touch. Well, if you know me from Instagram, you know I'm all for Canel Spice, so what are my fears then? Number 1, the I want you scene is pulled out from the middle of the Six of Crow material, and I really hope they don't hollow its sanctity, because this was preceded by loads of little back and forth Canel steps, such as the men mock gods until they need them. My darling Inej treasure of my heart, would you do me the honor of acquiring me a new hat? I protect my investments. I want to die buried under the weight of my gold. It was because she was listening that Inej knew when Kaz fainted. Inej let her hand cup Kaz's cheek. If he could have bottled her laughter and be drunk on it every night, he would have. Kaz had to tell her what? That she was brave and lovely and better than anything that he deserved, blah blah. So all this annulled just by changing the timeline of the I want you scene? No, my Canel soul cannot take this. Please tell me I misunderstood, or that there is some way around it. My second fear is on the dream theory. Do not forget this is a slow burn which has to culminate in the bathroom scene and the dog scene in the Crooked Kingdom, and it wouldn't be wise to rob us of that by having some spicy dream. Okay, mixed feelings about that. I would like a Canel spicy dream, but maybe after Crooked Kingdom is adapted. But anyway, if there's a single Canel scene in the entire season 2, it better be real, not a dream. Also, I don't want to hear the word never in relation to what Canel can do. The end of Crooked Kingdom is open. There's no never. Don't pull the rug from under our Canel feet. I repeat, do not tamper with the sanctity of Six O'Clock. Okay, there's one tampering I can handle, Helnick Spice. Helnick Spice in Crooked Kingdom timeline would be awesome. I'm not even going to ask for the altering of the chapter 40 because I know we're not going to get it, much as the entirety of the fandom would beg for it on their knees. So these are my fears, but hey, 2 more days and we'll know for sure. Until then, feel free to wail your Canel hearts out in the comments. Go to my Instagram page and see the crows bantering over Kaz Kruger cake, or check out this other season 2 commentary I've done recently. Thank you for watching, like and subscribe for more such content, and see you next time. Bye!